Welcome back. Now, I know I've talked about this before on this channel, but I feel like after the whole threads thing yesterday, why not talk about it today? Seems like a good time to talk about it. So, social media is this interesting beast, isn't it? I remember MySpace. Everybody had to have a MySpace. And were you in somebody's top five? Top five, and you'd be like, hey, I'm in the top five. Look at that. I'm in the top five. Or how am I going to put in my top five? Not that it really mattered, right? And then so MySpace was a big deal, and then Facebook came along, and we all migrated to Facebook. And I remember I was working at a call center at the time, and one person got Facebook and said, "Hey, you should set up a profile on here. We can all chat." And we all got together. We all chatted. We had Facebook Messenger. It was great. However, Facebook I don't think is as so in the beginning, Facebook was about finding friends and family that you haven't seen in forever, and most of us have done that. A lot of the time, you find out you drifted apart from people for a reason. Those friendships, and it is one of those interesting things that with the internet now, it is really odd how friendships work and people can get offended because you won't add me as a friend, and why won't you add me as a friend? I really honestly don't know that I would have Facebook if not for two reasons. One, because the hockey channel, I have to have a Facebook page for that. That, of course, has to have an admin account. So that's my personal Facebook account that I use for the admin for that. My wife also has admin powers over that. So sometimes it's me posting, sometimes it's her. But the other reason is my wife. I reactivated my Facebook account because I deactivated it at the time I met her, and we started going out, and I was like, I better reactivate my Facebook just so you can prove that your boyfriend exists. So that was one of the reasons I went back on Facebook, and there were people who were happy to see me back, and a lot of them were like, I didn't know you left, because of course they don't notice. One thing with Facebook now, I just don't find it's useful anymore. There have been incidents where I found out something tragic happened in somebody's life a month afterwards, where I'm like, wait, why didn't I see that post sooner? Because Facebook didn't show it to me, which is my biggest problem with Facebook. Now, of course, that's Meta, which also controls Instagram, which also controls Threads. So, one thing I've seen with Threads, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, is complaints about how it's set up. And just in general, the whole thing isn't quite as useful as, say, Twitter. Now, Twitter, of course, there's all of the discussions about Twitter and whether or not it's making money, whether or not it's going to go bankrupt. There's good reason to think it'll go bankrupt over the next 12 months. It wasn't making money before Elon took over. It has not started making money now. And so, yeah, Twitter very likely could be losing. Now, Twitter seems to be a little bit panicked about Threads because the new CEO of Twitter put out a post today basically saying don't go. I mean, if you could just summarize it with two words, don't go. There were millions that signed up on Threads, and now I think they're all still active on Twitter, but most of their posts are follow me over there. And then my guess is once they get the accounts on Threads with enough followers, I don't know that they delete their Twitter, but they'd probably be on it a lot less. So Twitter's traffic could drop by a lot. Now Meta, which owns Facebook, anyways, Meta's a whole other discussion point, right? But they really pulled the trigger on this one maybe a little bit early, like a couple of weeks maybe before they wanted to, but it felt like the timing was kind of perfect. We had the problem where Twitter was restricting how many tweets you could view. Well, for me, that means that I might as well not have Twitter because I'm following 32 different teams, at least one journalist for every team in the NHL. So if you're going to have a cap of 600 tweets you can read in a day, I'm going to use that up very quickly because I also follow a lot of entertainment accounts and various NHL related journalists that aren't even team related. And so, yeah, it's going to, and of course, then you have cap friendly, you have everything hockey related. I follow some football stuff too. It would very easily reach 600 threads slash tweets that I've read within minutes. And once they all got throttled like that, that's where I think Meta and Mark Zuckerberg realized, hey, we've got a chance here to get in. We've got a chance to, make this work and maybe be seen as a replacement for Twitter. Also on the board here, I've got Instagram. Instagram, I'm not a huge fan of Instagram, honestly. I have it set so that Facebook automatically posts to Instagram. I've had problems with two different Instagram accounts, so I don't have Threads at this point. I was going to set it up under one of my other email accounts, so it's not attached to my Instagram, but I got all kinds of errors with that, so I'll try it again at some point. But from what I've heard with Threads, it's not as useful, as intuitive, as because here's what I like, and I really wish this is what we got. I want to see posts in real time. I want to see posts from people I follow. I don't want to see suggestions for who I should be following. The same as it's aggravating on Facebook when it's recommending friends and they're people I've never seen, and I look at their profile like they're from across the country. I don't have any sort of connection with this person at all. This is such a random thing. But it is something with Instagram too, where at times posts get buried. I'll see something with somebody I follow on Instagram, and I'll think, "Wow, that happened 2 weeks ago. Would have been nice to know that at the time." So I don't think it's rocket science. I do think, and I've seen this as well, where the question gets asked, "Well, why did they keep making changes?" Because there's guys in research and development that need to make sure that it's changing. It's something I learned when I was again working at a call center, and I would ask people this big, well, why are they trying to change this product? Because everybody likes it right now. Well, we're going to change the interface. Why? Well, see, we're going to make this happen and this, but why? You have something that works. You have something people like, and you're going to mess with it, and you're going to make people mad. And sure enough, it did. It absolutely did. And so then you'd have angry customers, and then you'd have a person like myself on the other end of the phone trying to sell them on the improvements which have made the product less useful. But again, there's people in research and development who are constantly trying to get the new one out. Like, all right, here's a new beta, here's a new beta. Why? Why are we doing more? Why is there more stuff? Like, with video games, I get it because there's always glitches. There's always little things you want to fix and switch out. But with some of this stuff, it feels like it's busy work. Like, well, we don't want to admit the product as it is kind of perfect because then they can lay a lot of people off. So you got to kind of keep rolling through and come up with new ideas and new ways of, generating interest in your product and revolutionizing it again, even if it's kind of sort of perfect, right? There's a reason that the Volkswagen Bug wasn't changed for a long time. It was kind of a perfect car, and it was cheap to fix, and everybody generally liked it. So I don't understand why Volkswagen Beetles haven't been made every single year from 1960 until now. That's a whole other discussion for a whole other time. Just an example I wanted to use. So when they brought back the VW Bug, everybody had one for a while. They're like, this is great. And then it went away again. Now, TikTok is one, of course, that's controversial because there's Chinese ownership involved. I don't mind TikTok. I think it's at least 20 years too young for me. I haven't used my TikTok account in a while for posting. I do follow various accounts, but it's basically just a time killer. You don't get anything really deep out of TikTok posts. Although Jessica Burbank, I do enjoy some of her Twitter posts. I think she's well-spoken on topics that she discusses on her TikTok. But yeah, I mean, it's just sort of there. It's yeah. I'm too old for the app by at least 20 years. Now, YouTube is qualified as social media. I guess, yeah, because here I am. I can make a video in my house. I can upload it, and all you find people on the internet can see it within an hour. So that qualifies as social media, and then we have the discussion in the comment section, right? Which very often is cordial, and we all get along. And then there's times where that doesn't necessarily happen, but that's kind of an internet thing. So I obviously enjoy YouTube. It is what I do for a living. I get a kick out of some YouTube content that I watch. There's other YouTube channels I don't bother with. I don't really have any interest in. But one thing about YouTube is that you're able to find whatever you're interested in, and then you just go to your subscriptions tab and have at her. That's what I do every day now. I just go to subscriptions tab and miss this. So it's set up in a way that I don't miss stuff, where Facebook, Instagram, I miss stuff all the time. Twitter, if I'm not on it and if it switches back to highlighted tweets rather than the latest tweets, because you'll try to go to latest tweets and it'll kind of go, are you sure? Because we're kind of throwing them at you randomly here with what we think you're going to want to see. So, you sure you want to go to latest? Yeah, I want the latest tweets. I want the latest tweets at all times. But yeah, YouTube, I like the way that it's set up, obviously. I'm a fan of YouTube, and there have been times where YouTube's changed things, and I've said I'm not sure this is a great change, but it's not nearly as option as on as it's not nearly as often as on others. There, that's what I'm trying to spit out. Pinterest, I've used Pinterest. I have an account on Pinterest. It's just sort of there. There's times that I'll find images on there that I use for videos with thumbnails and whatnot, but outside of that, I don't really use Pinterest. Reddit, I don't go on Reddit in general. I put that up there with the don't look at the sun kind of thing. I don't bother with Reddit. If I'm on there, it's because there's probably some gossip somewhere that's the only place it's being reported. And I'm like, what are they talking about over here? Oh, all right, cool, fine, good. So I don't really go on Reddit. Snapchat, I installed Snapchat at one point. I tried using Snapchat and very quickly realized this is meant for people that are 20 years of age, and this is meant for them. Yeah, this is not for me. So I don't bother with Snapchat. LinkedIn, I don't really have any use for LinkedIn. It's good for, if you're getting into the realm of trying to find a good job. A LinkedIn profile is really important, and if you have a really good LinkedIn profile, that can help you professionally. I was kind of surprised to see that listed on social media. I didn't really feel like including it, but I saw it on more than one list of popular media sites, and I was like, well, I guess it qualifies as social media then, although I've never used it in a social manner. Now, the next one could very well be Threads, and it may very well end up being, because Meta has a lot of money. The fact that it's tied to Instagram, I'm not a fan. I really don't like the idea of, okay, now this app needs that. Sort of like, Facebook automatically posts to Instagram. Well, I'm not a fan. I'm really, really not a fan. Now, one of my Instagram accounts got, just broken. My second Instagram account, I'm very protective of, because I did actually manage to get back into it. I've been able to post on it. I really don't want to start signing up for Threads and break this Instagram account. So I want to use a different email address for Threads, so it's not attached to my Instagram. But from what I'm reading early on, I don't know what I will do with Threads other than put videos on there and see if anybody looks them up and see if anybody thinks anything of it. So that's the plan. I am on Spoutable. I do enjoy Spoutable. There aren't very many people on Spoutable. That's the one thing with that site. I've posted a couple of times. I get some traction on Spoutable, but not a lot. But I do enjoy it. It is similar in its setup to Twitter. I'm still in the waiting process with Blue Sky, which I will agree, I saw this today, that the process of the beta and the amount of time they've spent slowly introducing people to it has probably really hurt their chances of being the next big one, because now Threads has got millions of people. I like the idea of getting your news in real time. I like the idea of seeing all of the updates from the real accounts. So being able to verify, yes, this news is from this person. And I think that there was a setup on Twitter that worked pretty well. That setup on Twitter is now kind of falling apart. I'm not a fan of the platform. I only use it because I need to know what's being broken in the news realm when it comes to hockey. And I need to make sure that I know what's going on. And so I go through and check various accounts. And of course, like I said, I follow all the teams. I follow everybody that you need to follow. And that's part of what I do, so that when I'm uploading videos for the other channel, that they're timely and that I make sure the information is as accurate as it can get. Where during the off season, sometimes there's heavy rumor and innuendo that's out there, and I try to filter some of that out. But this time of year, you get a lot of that. So there you go. I just wanted to go through this because it feels like we could be seeing another shift. And as we saw with MySpace, which is not up here, once people leave a platform, that can be the end of that platform. Which is weird, because I kind of on some level miss MySpace. It was simple. It was kind of fun. You could have music on it. It was an interesting setup, to be sure. Now, of course, I could have music on my YouTube channel. Absolutely, I could throw music on, and then I could get copyright strikes or various other notices to cease and desist. So that's a terrible idea. But again, I mean, early on with YouTube, I realized that my brand would never be one where I had like a big flashy graphic intro where I had a bunch of music at the start or music at the end, that really wasn't what was going to drive any success I managed to have on YouTube. So honestly, I think of the social media platforms, obviously I'm biased, so YouTube should be disqualified. If I had to have a favorite out of all of them, man, I don't want to pick one. I really don't. They all have their flaws. I Facebook for the business side of it can be good, with the page. Although, if you're trying to set up Facebook to get paid out for ad impressions and stuff for your business, yeah, it doesn't really go all that well. It's kind of a pain, a lot of paperwork, things like that. And I already filled out a lot of that paperwork for YouTube, filled out a lot of that paperwork for other sites, and I'm kind of like, I'm kind of over this paperwork thing. But anyways, we'll see what happens in the future. But let me know your thoughts. Where do you think it all ends up? Or do you think everybody stays on Twitter? Do you think we all have to be in the same place? I don't think we all have to be in the same place. I really don't. I think that the whole idea of, the internet bringing the whole world together, yeah, I'm kind of over that. I'm kind of okay with, people having their own little social groups here and there. And maybe that's the future of it as well, that you have sites and you have the little groups. I know Mastodon's been talked about. There's other sites where that's a thing, but they're not as user friendly necessarily. So the trick is be user friendly, be simple, and innovate just a little bit and make it so that people look at Twitter and go, I mean, this was fun, but what they're doing over there is much better. Is Threads going to do that? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.